Hey you guys, so at this time, should you be focusing on your self-care or should you be focusing on your productivity? I think there's been a big debate out there on social media. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Let me know if you have. But I think that there are kind of two camps of people. There are those saying, all right, during this time, this is your chance to take all those online classes you thought you would be doing and upgrade your skill set and all that kind of thing. And there's the other camp saying, hey, what's going on here? Everyone just calm down. This is a time for self-care. You should be just cooking and nurturing yourself and taking time out and meditating. And it's okay if you get nothing done. And in fact, a lot of mental health professionals, that's what they've been saying. We need to stop pushing ourselves. Just if we can survive this whole crisis, that's going to be good enough. So let's just have a talk about this. And I'm really curious, you guys, how you've been feeling. Like, have you been focusing on that nurturing side of things, on your self-care, or have you actually been focusing more on trying to get something done? What's the project you're working on? I would love to hear from you below. And just in case you guys don't know me, I'm Dahlia. I help professionals to get highly paid work that they also love and to get careers on their terms. So I thought this debate was really interesting. And I think, it's not just a debate I think it's been magnified at this time, but actually it's something that a lot of people debate in their own minds on a day-to-day basis, even when we're not in times of crisis, right? Should I take it easy on myself, or should I grind, go for my goals, hustle, etc., etc.? And I know a lot of my clients, especially when they're trying to figure out their career direction, they're not really sure what they want to be doing, they go back and forth between these two modes all the time. So they'll have days where they're in procrastination mode and they're like, I don't really know what I want to do, so maybe I'll just lie on the couch and watch Netflix because it's so much easier, and then they kind of beat themselves up about it. Or they'll have periods of time when they're just busy with work and they're like, you know what, I'm not going to think about my next career direction right now, I'm just too busy. If I can just get myself to the gym and cook for myself, that's going to be good enough. I'm going to leave it at that. And then they'll have other moments where they get super productive and they're like, I'm going to go on all the job boards and scroll and see what else is out there and think about my next career move and that kind of thing. But then soon afterwards, they get back into this mode of procrastination and that kind of thing. And what I think is interesting is that a lot of times either mode it's not good or bad. Like, both modes can be the wrong mode. So some people really push themselves to work, but they're not actually working on the right thing. So I see people who are constantly feeling like, oh, I need to be productive, I need to be hustling, and if you look at what they're actually producing and actually doing, a lot of times they're hustling in the wrong direction. I see people going, oh, I need to create my personal website, and they create this beautiful site and then nobody sees it, for example, and they've worked months on this thing and went to bed late after work to work on their personal portfolio. Nobody sees it. So obviously productivity is not necessarily actually productive, right? If you think about productivity as what it's supposed to mean, it's not keeping busy. Productivity means getting something important done. So you need to be really careful. Are you actually being productive, getting something important done, or are you just keeping busy? Because there is a major difference, and you don't want to just be full of just distracting yourself from getting the important things done. And I think what's going on right now is a lot of people, they think that they're self-caring, but actually they're just spending the whole day scrolling on social media. And that's not real self-care, right? It's not productive, but it's also not self-care. And I think that there's a lot to be said for social media, and there's so many good things about it, and you can definitely get amazing inspiration and find great information, learn from people on social media. But there's a big difference between going on it for that purpose, for a productive reason, to really get good insights, get something, and obviously do your networking and all of that. A big difference between that versus simply scrolling because you're not doing something else and you just feel too overwhelmed and you can't focus on anything else, so you just scroll. Big difference. And hey, I've been guilty about it too. I think we all have. We've all been overwhelmed. We've all been feeling like, I don't know what to focus on. I have 10 online classes I want to take. I'll just go scroll on Instagram instead. I mean, I think everyone has had their own version of being there. So, it's something that just happens. It's okay as long as you're aware of it. And I think that this whole debate between self-care versus productivity is not really, it's the wrong debate, because both self-care and productivity, you need both, and actually one of them plays upon the other. So you need self-care to be productive, and you need to be productive to self-care. If you simply stop being productive and you say, you know what, things are very difficult right now. I'm just going to disconnect, forget about being productive. I'm just going to survive this period. And then you're just kind of, laying on the couch and trying to feel good and trying to pass the time, whatever. You're not actually going to feel good, right? Like, productivity is a form of self-care. When you're doing something important, you're doing something that you think serves a purpose, and you get it done, that feels so amazing. And then you can't just be working all the time, so that's where self-care is a way for you to disconnect from your projects. It's a way for you to disconnect from the normal stuff you've been doing, and to, and there's so many versions of self-care, right, that people have been talking about. It doesn't need to be cooking. It doesn't need to be meditation. It's really whatever it is for you. And when you disconnect with self-care, the purpose of that is to then be able to be ready to be productive again. And I think a lot of people will disagree with me here. They'll say, self-care, that's not something you do for productivity. That's just to feel good and be happy. But productivity also makes you feel good and be happy. If you spend this whole time frame, these months, just surviving and trying to pass the time, I don't think you'll be as happy as if you were productive and you're proud of what you got done during that time. And that doesn't mean that if you're not up to it and you just can't bring yourself to be productive and accomplish something, that you should feel guilty about it and there's something wrong with you or anything like that. Everyone has their own version of how to be productive, and based on different circumstances of your life, everyone has a different version of what that productivity will look like for them. But whatever it is for you, being productive, getting something that you think is important done, something that's going to advance your future, is going to make you feel so much better. So I just thought it was interesting that this whole debate is going on, when really I see self-care and productivity as two sides of the same coin and not two sides that are competing with one another. But I'd love to know what you guys think. I'd love to know what you're currently working on or not working on. Have you decided to focus, what's your view on the self-care versus productivity? Are there any projects that you're working on, or you're mostly just trying to get through this time? I would love to know. Let me know below, and I will see you guys on the next video.